Was there ever a time in Dokken where it felt like a brotherhood? Where I mean, you always hear about these bands, especially back in the day, and a gang mentality and all that kind of stuff. Was that ever a thing with Dokken? Because I know
Yeah.
you've said that Dokken was a great way to check your ego, and that's what ultimately ruined the band. But I'm sure there was at least some halfway decent times in terms of camaraderie between everybody.
Of course there were. Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because Don told us he was gonna leave the band on Halloween night, 1988. And of course it didn't take place for several more months, um but it was so weird because we were playing with Aerosmith at the time, and that was actually the peak. No, that must have been 80. No, I guess it was 88. Yeah. Anyways, that was the peak of us getting along. It was the strangest thing. It kind of hit me like a brick because I felt like we had finally gotten to the point where we were getting along. I mean, on the Aerosmith tour, there were several nights where because it was the first time that we had a band bus separate from the crew. So we would travel, and our road manager, who is Rick Sales, who's Ghost and Slayer's manager now, he was
Yeah.
our road manager, and he and the band, us, Don, George, Mick, and I, would sit up front, and we'd have glasses of wine, and we'd talk, and it was the best we'd ever gotten along. So yeah, there was definitely moments of camaraderie, and I always tell the story of, we call it the Buffalo Brawl, because we were in Buffalo, New York one time, and the bus was parked. For some reason, I remember it being parked like by a strip mall, and I don't know why. That's my memory of it. But actually, no, I think it was at our hotel. But whatever it was, all of a sudden, these guys come on the bus, like these big, brawny guys come on the bus, like, "Who are you guys? What's going on?" And I believe they were part of the Buffalo Bills team. I don't know if they were team players or just guys that worked for them or whatever, but they were big, burly guys. And they were really drunk and really belligerent. And we ended up getting kind of like almost in a fist fight with them. We had to, try and chase them off the bus. And they were like getting kind of violent and pushing us around and stuff. And we were like a gang right then. I mean, we were like, yeah, and of course we're these little scrawny rock guys, you got these big football players. We wouldn't have stood a chance. We were all talk, but yeah, that moment sticks out in my mind. Like, okay, we have each other's back. That's cool.
Was it was the tensions within the band were like a big press angle, probably amplified things a little bit. Do you think that played a role in the downfall, and that it
Yeah.
obviously making things worse than it needed to be? And so had that not been an angle for them, things could have potentially ended differently.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. It really was. It did become a noose around our neck because people would try and provoke us. And in the early days, especially with Don and George, it took nothing to provoke them into going off on a tangent. And that could be really problematic because those guys would say things that then doubled back around. So it was not a good, the press angle of us not getting along was a noose around our neck. Absolutely.